The unwavering commitment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to fight against economic crimes and corruption in Nigeria has gradually revamped the country's dented image as a den of corruption. This feat is as a result of years of toil and sweat. You can be part of this struggle by shunning all forms of economic crimes and corruption. Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to the program, The Eagle. My name is Aisha Gambari.
And I am Aisha Mohammed. A very good evening to you out there. I also say, welcome to the program on TV. We hope you will keep tuning in to enjoy the program as we bring you interesting activities within the Commission.
On the program today, Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, has reiterated the Commission's resolve to vigorously enforce its mandate alongside preventive initiatives with a view to effectively tackle corruption in Nigeria.
Former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Tony Iradia, has called on media professionals in Nigeria to collaborate with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in the fight against corruption. And Justice Abubakar Umar of the FCT High Court, sitting in Maitama, Abuja, convicted and sentenced Wandora Gilmaska, a Pole, alongside her company, Icon Media and Marketing Agency Limited, to 2 years imprisonment on one-count charge of fraud brought against her by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
And the trial of former Minister of Interior Abba Moro has continued before Justice Nnamdi Dingba of the Federal High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja, with the cross-examination of witnesses. Just as Justice Ayos Umar of the FCT High Court, also in Maitama, granted bail to a former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Usman O. Jubrin, and 2 others for offences bordering on criminal conspiracy brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Today's edition promises to be interesting. Please stay tuned. The program continues shortly. Don't go away.
My name is Sani Mwazu. I'm a filmmaker, and corruption kills the land. People that are corrupt are people that are killing the land. Stop corruption.
Welcome back. We'll begin with court stories as the trial of former Minister of Interior Abba Moro commences before Justice Nnamdi Dingba of the Federal High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja, with the cross-examination of witnesses. Moro and others are facing 11 counts charge bordering on obtaining by false pretense, procurement fraud, and money laundering. Kamala Gaby has this and other reports.
As the trial of Abba Moro, a former Minister of Interior, and 2 others continues with the first prosecution witness, PW1, David Shikfu Paradang, who is a former Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, cross-examined by Chris Uche SAN, and Michael Eleyemi, counsel to the second and third defendants, respectively. The witness, in his testimony, again narrated events leading to the ill-fated recruitment exercise, stating that he had kicked against it. He had earlier testified to the effect that he was sidelined by the former minister during preparations for the March 15, 2014 recruitment exercise, which led to the death of about 20 applicants. Paradang further stated, and I quote, "On 9th December 2013, I wrote to the secretary to the board protesting the recruitment exercise. At the time I wrote the letter, save the advert, no other part of the implementation of the exercise had commenced." End of quote. He, however, denied having dealings with the second and third defendants, who were former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Anastasia Daniel Nwobia, and the serving director of the Ministry of Finance, F.O. Alayebami, regarding the exercise. The witness also denied seeing the names or signatures of the second and third defendants on the contract that was awarded to one Drexel Global Tech Limited for the provision of online enlistment and recruitment. In his words, and I quote, "I did not see her name or signature on the contract. As far as immigration was concerned, I did not have any meetings with the third defendant. I do not know if he played any role in the contract." End of quote. Moro and his co-defendants were first arraigned in February 2016 by the EFCC for offences bordering on obtaining by false pretense, procurement fraud, and money laundering. They are alleged to have defrauded a total of over 600,000 Nigerian job applicants to the tune of over 600 million naira through e-payment for the online recruitment exercise into the Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS) on March 17, 2013. And still on court cases, Justice A.S. Umar of the FCT High Court sitting in Maitama has granted bail to a former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Usman Jibrin, and two others for an offence bordering on criminal conspiracy brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). Others charged to court with Jibrin are Rear Admiral Bala Michelia, retired, and Rear Admiral Shehu Amadu, retired. They were all docked alongside Harbour Bay International Limited by the anti-graft agency. The naval chiefs, while in office, allegedly bought a house worth 600 million naira from the account of Naval Engineering Services without the said purchase contract being captured in the budget. It was also alleged that the documentation for transfer of ownership of the property was done such that a private company owned by the family of the first defendant, Vice Admiral Jibrin, became the buyer. The offence is in contravention of Section 26, 1B and punishable under Section 22, 4 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. Justice Umar, after taking their pleas, adjourned for hearing on bail application. Moving the application at the resumed sitting, Jibrin's counsel, Y.C. Mekiao SAN, prayed the court to admit his client to bail pending trial. Mekiao argued that the offence for which the first defendant is charged is bailable by virtue of Section 42(1) and 2 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. He further stated that the defendant is a retired Rear Admiral of the Nigerian Navy and a former Chief of Naval Staff, who voluntarily honored the invitation of the EFCC and remained cooperative throughout the investigation leading to his charge. According to him, Jibrin complied with the conditions upon which he was granted bail by the EFCC and did not in any way interfere with the investigation. On his part, Olatunji Salau, who stood in for A.M. Kayode representing Michelia, urged the court to admit his client to bail on a very liberal term. He pleaded that the accused, if granted bail, would be available to stand his trial. Similarly, Amadu's counsel, A.G. Duku, aligned himself with the arguments of the other two counsels to seek bail for his client, adding that the second defendant will not be able to adequately prepare for his defense while in custody, as the circumstances surrounding his charge occurred in the course of obeying instructions of his superior. Responding, counsel to EFCC, Farouk Abdullahi vehemently opposed the bail of the first and third accused, Jibrin and Amadu, while raising no objection to the second accused's prayer, but urged the court to enforce conditions that would ensure his presence in court while trial lasts. In his opposition to Jibrin's application, Farouk argued that the defendant had not made out a case to warrant the court to exercise its discretion in his favor. He stated that the first defendant, Jibrin, had the financial muscle and status to interfere with the prosecution witness if admitted to bail. Farouk also urged the court to consider the gravity and rampancy of the offence. He invited the court to refuse the application and instead order for accelerated hearing of the matter. After listening to the arguments for and against the application, Justice Umar, who consolidated the three applications, ruled that the defendants were entitled to be granted bail, as it was their constitutional right, adding that it might be revoked if any of the terms is breached. He therefore granted the accused persons bail in the sum of 100 million naira each and two sureties in like sum each. One of the sureties must not be below salary grade level 16 public officer. The sureties must also have landed properties within the jurisdiction of the court, which must be verified by the registrar of the court and the EFCC. The accused persons are to also deposit their international passports with the court. The judge also ordered that the accused persons be remanded in EFCC custody pending the fulfillment of their bail conditions. The case has been adjourned to November 14th and 15th, 2016 for commencement of hearing.
Corruption is dishonesty and illegal behavior by people in positions of trust. A public office is a public trust. Do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Stay away from corruption. Nigeria is a great nation, and it is our responsibility to make the country greater. If you notice any act of corruption, please report to the EFCC via info@efccnigeria.org or call 09 904 4751 or 09 904 4752. You can also call 09 904 4753. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Welcome back. Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, has reiterated the Commission's resolve to vigorously enforce its mandate alongside preventing initiatives with a view to effectively tackle corruption in Nigeria. Golden Ago has this and other reports.
According to Magu, prevention is an effective and necessary weapon that must be employed in conjunction with enforcement in order to wage a successful war against corruption. He said, there is no group of Nigerians better equipped to wield that weapon other than the youths. The EFCC board stated this during the unveiling of the EFCC Creative Youth Initiative Against Corruption, CYIAC, held at Dennis Hotel, Abuja. He identified the role of the youths as strategic to winning the war against corruption, saying, we cannot afford to let the youths down.
Sometimes I used to tell people that the children, that we are giving our today for your tomorrow. So it's very important that the children from the grassroots really understand that corruption is wrong.
Explaining the project initiator, Foluke Michael, said the idea was conceived out of the need to give children a platform to express themselves. He said the project is designed to nip the tree of corruption at the board by catching them young. The children, she said, are taught to recognize, reject, and condemn corruption, which is done through education and creative development. She also commended the passion of the EFCC acting chair in the fight against graft and in ensuring the project is flagged off for participation. High point of the occasion was the unveiling of the project logo and website by the EFCC chairman, Ibrahim Magu. The event, which is an EFCC initiative, featured school children, journalists, EFCC staff, and members of the public. In another development, acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has assured the World Food Programme, WFP, of the much sought support to ensure transparency in the administration of relief to internally displaced persons, IDPs, in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Magu, who acknowledged evidence of corruption at the IDP's camp in Maiduguri, said the Commission would dedicate a desk for the World Food Programme in order to facilitate unhindered administration of its intervention efforts. Earlier, Assistant Executive Director WFP Roberto da Silva had urged the EFCC to ensure transparency, credibility, and accountability in the disbursement of funds and purchase of food items to the Northeast. Da Silva, who led a delegation on a courtesy visit to Magu in Abuja, said the program focuses on food assistance with humanitarian and social objectives. He added that the program was targeted at over 700,000 individuals, including 20,000 children. According to him, as a result of the commitment the WFP have undertaken, the program will be introducing a series of food assistance. One of them is where a financial transfer takes place to enable beneficiaries buy food, or where the WFP admits any need for assistance in purchase of food. He added that the group will be disbursing millions of dollars to Nigeria. Half of it will be a cash transfer, and the other half is to purchase food items for the two states, Borno and Yobe, which is why they decided to reach out to the EFCC. Da Silva, who stated that the collaboration between the EFCC and the WFP would ensure the prevention of fraud, added that there is a need to scale up and maintain integrity so that more work can be achieved. He disclosed that offices had been set up in Abuja and Maiduguri, with hopes of bringing in 80 to 100 professionals from Nigeria to run the offices in Borno and Yobe. Golden Ago, reporting for The Eagle.
Glad to have you join us again. If you're just tuning in, the program is The Eagle, coming to you from the stables of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. You too can be part of this program by joining us on our social media portals at Official EFCC across all social media platforms, or send an email to theeagle@efccnigeria.org. Moving on now to convictions, as Justice Abubakar Umar of the FCT High Court, sitting in Maitama, Abuja, convicted and sentenced one Dora Gilmaska, a Pole, alongside our company, Icon Media and Marketing Agency Limited, to 2 years imprisonment on one count charge of fraud brought against her by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi brings you this report and other stories on convictions secured by the Commission across the country. Over to you, Rolake.
Gilmaska was found guilty of forging and issuing a dud check of 9 million naira to one Tayo Ulugbemi sometime in 2012. She was arraigned on November 7, 2012, and upon arraignment pleaded not guilty to the charge. After diligent prosecution, Justice Umar found Gilmaska guilty, and she was consequently convicted. However, her sentencing has been reserved till October 4, 2016. Also convicted and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment by a federal high court sitting in Warri, Delta State, is one Iwofuse Oyoma. Iwofuse was first arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on 3rd May 2016 on a 7-count charge bordering on conspiracy, forgery, and obtaining money by false pretense to the tune of over 9,000 United States dollars. Upon his arraignment, the convict pleaded not guilty to the charge, but later changed his plea to that of guilty. Justice E.A. Obile consequently convicted Iwofuse and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment with an option of 300,000 naira fine to be forfeited to the federal government. He also ordered that the payment receipt be deposited to the court registry. Iwofuse was arrested sometime in May 2015 in Calabar, Cross River State, following intelligence reports on his involvement in internet scams. During investigation, different scam mails which he used in defrauding his victims, mostly foreign women, by presenting himself as Mike Anderson, an American businessman, were recovered. Still on conviction, the Lagos State High Court, presided over by Justice Kudirat Jose, on 21 September 2016, convicted and sentenced one Michael Ugochukwu to 5 years imprisonment on a 1-count charge of stealing to the tune of over 10 million naira. The convict was arraigned by the EFCC in 2014 following investigation of a petition by one Patrick Eke, who alleged that he imported a total of 28 vehicles for the convicts from the United States of America sometime in January 2010 through the Lagos port. It was later discovered in April 2010 when the audit of the vehicle's inventory was conducted that all the 28 vehicles were sold with the exception of one. But when confronted, the convict told the complainants that there were still 5 vehicles left to be sold, whose total cost was 10,500,000 naira. The petitioner did all he could to get his money, but Ugochukwu refused to pay him, which compelled him to report the matter to the EFCC. Upon arraignment, Ugochukwu pleaded not guilty, and full trial was conducted, in which the prosecution, led by Chidima Anita, called 4 witnesses. At the end of the trial, the court found the accused guilty as charged and convicted him accordingly. Justice Jose sentenced the convict to 5 years imprisonment without option of fine. She also ordered that restitution of the stolen sum be made by the convict. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi, reporting for The Eagle.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Tony Iradia, has called on media professionals in Nigeria to collaborate with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) in the fight against corruption. He stated this while presenting a paper titled Electronic Media and Investigating Journalism, New Trends and Opportunities at a one-day capacity building workshop organized by the EFCC for journalists in Abuja. Kamali Gebi again has more.
The former NTA boss said effective investigative journalism would enhance the activities of the EFCC while also making members of the public to be better informed about the corruption war. Iradia, who described the EFCC as Nigeria's foremost institutional actor in the fight against corruption, stated that investigative journalism could also do a lot to correct the misconceptions about activities of the Commission.
It's also great that EFCC recognizes the need to give recognition to the media, and so to invite the media to a forum like this to discuss with it. I am particularly happy that I've been given an opportunity to be part of this, and I want to appreciate the EFCC for this, and to hope that many more of these will take place, as Wilson said, to develop capacity. Why do we need to develop capacity? Because learning never stops. It's an ongoing thing. The more you learn, the more you get. There is no knowledge that is wasted.
He added that corruption could be prevented where there was adequate public enlightenment engendered by investigative journalism. According to him, investigative journalism can create leads for the EFCC to follow. He said recently he found out that the EFCC recorded 117 convictions in 2013 and 126 in 2014. And what that means is that public enlightenment about the activities of the EFCC is low. He added that this can be addressed where there is effective investigative journalism. While talking about EFCC's attitude to the media, Iradia urged the EFCC not to intimidate journalists, adding that it could lead to poor reportage of its activities. He further stated that media practice in Nigeria was handicapped by ownership control, and that the EFCC could not afford to apply brown envelope style in its relationship with the media. Also, Ibanga Esine, an editor with Premium Times, said the fight against corruption would not succeed if there was no direct collaboration between the media and the anti-graft agencies. Esine, who spoke on journalism on the fight against corruption, lessons from abroad, also stated that media professionals had the capacity to bring corrupt people in the public and private sectors to justice. According to him, and I quote, "This can be achieved if you use the power in your hands. The problem, however, is that many journalists do not follow up their stories to the end. In addition, to do an effective investigative journalism, you need some level of madness and courage." Also speaking, Azu Ishekwene, publisher and editor-in-chief, The Interview, called for more open reporting of corruption. Ishekwene, who presented a paper titled Unreported Corruption, charged journalists not to join the multitude to do wrong. He decried the prevalent obsession with high-profile cases by anti-graft agencies, adding that little foxes can destroy the entire system. He further attributed ignorance or fear of reprisal as well as bureaucracy to several cases of unreported corruption in the country. Ishekwene, who advocated greater independence of anti-corruption agencies, added that unreported corruption could erode confidence in public institutions, worsen poverty in the land, and undermine integrity of any news report. In his address, acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, called on Nigerians to join hands with the Commission in the fight against corruption in order to have a better Nigeria. The workshop is part of a capacity building program initiated by the EFCC for journalists covering the activities of the Commission.
And that is all we have for you on this week's edition of The Eagle. Do join us same time next week for another interesting package. To leave a comment, please send your contributions to theeagle@efccnigeria.org or search for us on Google Plus at Official EFCC or Official EFCCNG@gmail.com.
You can also like our page on facebook.com/Official EFCC or follow us on Twitter @Official EFCC. And to watch our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/Official EFCC.
My name is Aisha Gambari. God bless Nigeria.
And I am Aisha Muhammad. Thank you for viewing.